What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Lavery Brewing Company, and they're out of Erie, Pennsylvania, and this is their Munster Golden Stout. So this is a Golden Stout, aka a white stout, that is brewed with oats and milk sugar, also known as lactose, and then conditioned on coffee, cacao nibs, and vanilla. It comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just over 5 weeks old. And we give a huge thanks and shout out once again to Lavery, and more specifically Charlie and Jason from the brewery for this beer. So big thanks to them. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies they sent my way. And they sent me a mixed 4-pack of their beer, a taster glass, some stickers, and 2 draft tokens that are good for a free draft beer pour each at their brewery, which I hope to make it down later this year to check out the digs, drink some beer on draft, and hopefully talk to Charlie. So Charlie is the head brewer, Jason is the owner, and it was awesome. They sent me a mixed 4-pack. This is the 4th and final beer of the box they sent my way. One of the beers they sent my way was their Ulster Breakfast Stout. In the top right-hand corner of the video, I'll post a link to that review if you want to check it out. But that is my favorite beer from them. It is amazing breakfast stout in the realm of like a Founder's breakfast stout without the chocolate. It just has a lot of good just qualities to it. Well, this is like the alter ego to this, to that beer. They do have a little write-up on Untappd. I'll read real quick. It just says, Muenster, the most southern province of Ireland, not the cheese Munster, we promise. So Ulster is in the northern region, and Munster is in the southern region. So again, the difference is there. It says it is the foil to its northern brethren and fan favorite Ulster Breakfast Stout. It says, still packing everything an Irish breakfast of champions is made of, Muenster is built on velvety oats, flaked barley, and creamy milk sugar. In lieu of bitter, dark, roasted grain that gives traditional stouts their ominous color, Muenster is conditioned on cocoa nibs, vanilla beans, and of course, copious amounts of locally roasted coffee from our friends at Happy Mug Coffee, just like the Ulster version. It says, the Golden Stout is a sleight of hand trick that can really mess with your senses, featuring all the familiar roasted coffee, bittersweet chocolate, caramel notes of a dark beer, but with the deceptive appearance of a far lighter beverage. Its creamy texture gives way to a latte-like drinking experience that is still perfect for blending your late night adventures with your morning recovery. So this is essentially a white stout version of their Ulster Stout. Breakfast stout, and I'm here for it. So let's crack it open, get the Guinness glass, because that's what I poured the Ulster in. I figure, why not do both proper? So yeah, that does not look like a stout, right? Now I will say, when it comes to golden stouts or white stouts, they are very hit or miss for me. A lot of times when I drink them, they come off more like, they just come off more like a golden ale, right? Or something in that realm, a blonde ale, or maybe even like a cream ale, like a coffee chocolate cream ale. And that is the one disappointing thing a lot of times. It's hard for me to get past that. I'm always honest with my reviews, and I even told Charlie, I said, hey, this is not one of my favorite styles because it's so hit or miss for me. Sometimes I get him like, oh yeah, I love it, and then other times I'm just like, yeah, it's not for me. And he said, no, I see it. He goes, he enjoys it, and he wanted to take a stab at it. So I totally get that. So does that look like like a blonde ale or a golden stout? Yeah, that is definitely has this golden kind of orangey color. Has almost 2 fingers of an off-white soap sudsy looking head. Looks like a really nice beer. Obviously doesn't look like a stout. Now let's bust out the contraband flashlight so you guys can see from behind. We're not going to do that. Try to go from the bottom. As you can see, this has decent carbonation. It does have more of a murk to it. It's not crystal clear, probably from all the adjuncts and whatnot. But I think this looks like a nice beer. A golden stout? Sure, let's get a nose. Holy crap, is that coffee crazy. Wow, that's intense coffee, just like the Ulster. And when Charlie sent this my way, I want to say this was like a week, maybe a week and a half old. I kind of waited on it because I had other hop forward beers from them and other people and just a lot of beer mails, a lot of beer in general. A lot of it was hop forward, so wanted to get to those first. But this smells awesome. It smells like a latte. It's like someone took a latte, threw some vanilla in there. It's like a mocha latte. That's what it tastes like to me. Or it smells like. Tons of chocolate, sweet. And again, you can't really smell sweetness, but it has a perceived sweetness that is like more in the milk chocolate realm. So milk chocolate, the vanilla, coffee, mocha all day. The only difference I'm getting with this is there's an underlying malt character that is very reminiscent of a golden / blonde ale, or maybe a cream ale. It has this graininess that is kind of like almost biscuit-esque to me, more so than actual, like roasted malt is roasted malt. I don't think these fool me too often just because it just smells like so many coffee cream ales I've had, coffee blonde ales over the year. That's what it kind of smells like. Does it smell like a bad beer? No, it smells delicious because I like me. Some of the best cream ales, blonde ales, golden ales I've ever had are like vanilla coffee versions of that. Like, what's the Ballast? The Ballast Point, they had one. I forget the name of it, but it was a vanilla coffee cream ale. It was fantastic. Carton in New Jersey does like an imperial like coffee cream ale that is insane. This kind of smells in that realm. Even a little bit like an orange, almost making me think of orange chocolate. Yeah, I mean, this smells good. Doesn't smell like a stout. A golden stout? Sure, I guess. But yeah, it smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Charlie and Jason. It's so tasty. I love that. So I like that. So they're doing a good job of adding lactose to this beer, just like the Ulster one, without going too heavy-handed on it. You know my opinion on beers with lactose. I wish there weren't any beers with lactose outside of milk stouts. I think some breweries just do too much with it. They put too much in there. They use it probably when it isn't necessary. And what it does a lot of times is it adds sweetness that is kind of overwhelming for certain styles. In this beer, I think you kind of need it for what they're going for, so I'm fine with it. Same thing with milk stouts. The milk stout is a milk stout because of the lactose. But they did a good job here of this one without going too heavy-handed with it and it becoming like a sick, cloying mess of a beer. Body's like medium, 7%, I'm fine with it. I think the Ulster had a little bit more heft behind it, but that's to be expected. The mouthfeel is lovely. Because of the sheer amount of oats they're using here and the lactose, it has a really smooth and creamy sensation. And there isn't a boatload of carbonation here. This is more like mild to moderately carbonated, so it's a little bit softer than anticipated. I love the mouthfeel in this one. The body's pretty solid too. So yeah, mouthfeel is nice. I like to drink this just from a mouthfeel standpoint alone. Taste-wise, I think the nose was a little bit more intense, a little bit more vibrant, we will say. Vibrant, boisterous, like I said. Dare I say bombastic. Shout out to Paul over at PA Brew News. The nose was just, again, huge mocha latte vibes. The taste is more of an actual beer, but again, that beer not being a stout for me. I don't know if it's because I've drank so many different types of styles over the past 16 years, or I've had a lot of different white stouts, golden stouts, again, those different like coffee cream ales and coffee blonde ales and everything. But this to me tastes like a coffee golden ale, a coffee cream ale. It's more in the realm of something like that than an actual stout, but I like it. That's the thing. This is delicious for what I'm tasting. Stylistically, it's not really a stout to me. It's just, it is what it is, and that's just my puny brain speaking. Forefront, again, it has that biscuity, kind of grainy malt feel. Dives underneath the palate, long for the ride, never really steps in the way though. And then after that, a ton, and I mean a ton of mocha vibes. This is sweet milk chocolate combined with like a light roasted coffee. It's like a sweeter coffee. If you're somebody who puts a couple sugars and a couple creams, or maybe like you go to Tim Hortons and get like a small coffee and order like a double or like a triple, and you're like, hey, you want some coffee with your sugar and cream? Like that type of sweetness, not quite, but like it's a bit sweeter than just your average cup of coffee with maybe like a cream or two in it. But I like that. I like that flavor. It's just the sweetness is a little bit much at the forefront. It does balance out a little bit on the back end, but that's the first two noticeable things is basically mocha. It's big chocolate and coffee vibes. A little bit different. About halfway through the palate, I get a touch of vanilla, and it kind of mixes in with this orange quality that could be coming from the yeast ester, could be coming from the hops, whatever. And it's always giving me a little bit of orange creamsicle. And it's starting to make me think if they made a mocha, but like an orange chocolate mocha kind of concoction. That's kind of what I'm getting here. And I love orange chocolate. Orange chocolate is my favorite chocolate flavor. I like it. I love dark chocolate, but orange chocolate, if I'm in the mood for something sweeter, orange chocolate is where it's at for me. Where dark chocolate I could eat all the time. Orange chocolate's like that savory, that special treat but this has a little bit of orange chocolate vibe. On the back of the palate, there's another thing I didn't notice in the Ulster one either, but I'm getting a little bit here. I do taste a little bit of that, like, the oats are like giving off a slight oatmeal vibe. A little bit of like an oatmeal vibe. Interesting. But the finish, it's earthy, and that's pretty much it from the hop character. Just an earthiness, generic earthiness. This finish is semi to firmly dry, kind of right in the middle of it. It has a nice mild to moderate bitterness. I don't know if it's the coffee or the hops they're using. Is this balanced? Not really. It leans to the sweeter side of things, like 60-40 sweetness to dryness and bitterness. But going into it with all the characteristics, kind of what they're going for, I think you're expecting a little bit of a sweet treat, but not overkill. This is not cloying whatsoever. It just leans a little bit sweeter. Obviously, I enjoy the Ulster Breakfast Stout more because it's a true stout. And I think that beer, I think the one thing that these beers can't do for me personally is bring that roasty, toasty, deeper, darker malt vibe. You just can't do it with a golden/white stout. In my opinion, I've not had a single brewery fool me with that. Now again, doing them blind. Maybe if I did this side by side with the Ulster Breakfast Stout, maybe that would be the play. Maybe next time I go down there, if they somehow have both of these there, like that would be a fun one to do a side by side with. Blind, of course, so I wouldn't know. But the only takeaway from this beer I can say is that even though I'm not a huge fan of golden/white stouts, and I don't think I've ever had one that like truly nails what the style is supposed to be, I think this is a nice beer. If they said this is the Munster Golden or a Munster Coffee Blonde or a Munster Coffee Cream Ale or Munster Mocha Cream Ale or Mocha Blonde, like I would be like, all right, you have nailed this. This is like a 4.75 stylistically. They just didn't, right? Like it's a stout and it's not a stout, even though they're interchangeable. Like it is what it is. And maybe you've had this one before. You've had golden/white stouts that have nailed it. I just haven't. I haven't had the privilege, so it is what it is. However, this is a tasty beverage. So I always rate the personal preference on my channel, but I also say stylistically, what would this be? So stylistically, I got to be honest, Charlie, Jason, stylistically, I couldn't give this more than a 3.5 out of 5. I just don't think this is a stout. I just don't. I don't care if it's golden or whatever. It just doesn't hit the stout marks for me. It has nuances and some characteristics of an actual stout. It's missing the prime component to a stout, and that is roasted malt, dark roasted malt. That's what it needs, and it's just hard to achieve that, I think, with the other characteristics. However, as a tasty beverage, if you just strip away, if I was doing this as a whodunit/mystery beer review on my channel, no idea what the style is, I would 100% call this out as probably a mocha blonde ale or a mocha golden ale or a mocha cream ale. It'd be one of those three. I'd probably go with a blonde ale, honestly. Just looking at the beer, cream ales usually don't have this deep of a kind of orangey, kind of golden color. But it's a tasty beverage. So let me take one more sip and I'll lock in a rating. It's still going to get a good rating because it's pretty damn tasty. It's just not exactly what it says it is. I've drank like half the beer, so clearly it's good. Munster Golden Stout from Lavery. Stylistically, 3.5 out of 5. Personal preference, low 4.25, I'll go 4.2. I still think Ulster Breakfast Stout is superior, but this is not a bad stab at a golden/white stout. I just think for me, and this is my honest takeaway for a beer like this, I don't think I'll ever have a golden/white stout that will be able to mimic perfectly a regular stout. It's a cool concept of a style. It's just I have not had one that really has done it justice. I don't know if it's out there. Maybe it's just a style that I just can't get. Like my puny brain can't comprehend what's happening. Price point availability, $18 a 4-pack at the brewery. Of course, Charlie and Jason sent it my way. I totally appreciate it, guys. But $4.50 a can, $18 4-pack, I'm fine with paying it. It's a 4.2 out of 5, so it's still a good beer overall. Would I rebuy this? Well, I didn't buy it the first time, thanks to Charlie and Jason. But if I saw this out there, let's say I take that trip down to Erie and I never had it before and I saw it, yeah, I would definitely grab it just because I'm curious about it. But it's not a bad price point, 7%. Oh yeah, 7%. No warm and chestnut on the palate, hides it beautifully. But yeah, so $18 4-pack and availability. It's Lavery in Erie, probably throughout Pennsylvania. We used to see them here in the Buffalo, New York area. No longer see them. I don't know if they get outside of the state of Pennsylvania, but if they do and you happen upon their beer, check them out. This was probably my least favorite of the 4 they sent my way, and it still got a 4.2. Charlie knows what he's doing. Jason knows what they've been doing for a decade plus. And I'm very happy that they were kind enough to send me a mixed 4-pack. Hopefully I get my hands on some of their beer later this year when I go down there. But that does it for the Lavery reviews in the foreseeable future. Once again, huge thanks to Charlie and Jason for the hookup. It was a lot of fun revisiting Ulster Breakfast Stout, couple IPAs from you guys, and then this one as well. It's been an absolute blast. I don't know what order I would put everything in, but I'd probably say that it'd be Ulster Breakfast Stout. Then I forget the name of it, but the rye New England IPA is second. The third one's that AMC double IPA, and then this would be fourth. But they're all very good beers. So if you're in and around Erie, check out Lavery if you've never had any of their beer. They're killing it. And yeah, so that does it for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. If you've had this one before, please post a comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review. Until the next one, cheers.